Hello and welcome to the Road to Success. My name is Aaron Peterson, and this is Landstar's podcast dedicated to small business owners in the freight industry. Coming up in the next few weeks, we are releasing 4 episodes of the Road to Success podcast about the pandemic pivot, where I talk to Landstar business owners, which means independent agents and owner-operators or business capacity owners, BCOs as we call them, who are navigating shifts to the business environment alongside their customers' changing businesses. Everything is changing in our environment, and we want to know what people are doing to adjust to that change. This is number 2 in our 4-part series. If you haven't heard it already, please go back and listen to James Morris. It was a great interview. And this is going to be a little different. See, we're going to find out how these entrepreneurs have kept their independent businesses moving despite the challenges of so much uncertainty. And this time it's a Landstar agent. Trevor and Shelley Hagerman are a husband and wife team in Ontario, Canada, who own and operate TH Logistics. The agents say since opening their independent Landstar agency in 2012, they've seen numerous shifts in business, but obviously nothing like the changes presented in 2020. The key, they say, is setting goals and being flexible, like when it came time to move their entire agency team to work remotely while still supporting their customers' needs. I know we can all understand that portion because many of us have had to do that. I've had to go remote as well, and I got to tell you, I've never spent this much time in my house before. I don't know if I like my house that much. Now I'm thinking maybe it's time to move. Probably because my wife keeps telling me about all the projects I should have had done before we went remote, and now I really should have had done, and I still haven't done them. I wonder if Trevor and Shelley have the same conversations. I'm not sure. Let's find out. Let's get into my interview with Trevor and Shelley Hagerman. How has business changed for you in 2020?
Well, we're a very goal-oriented agency. Have our staff kind of wired in that same regard and work towards goals monthly. So what's really changed for us in 2020 is the downturn has definitely caused some drastic reductions in freight volumes and revenue. Mm-hmm. So we've really had to switch gears. And on that, and for the first time, we've been agents now for 13 years. This is the first year where we haven't been able to grow, and actually we had to make some reductions in staffing levels. Since that time, the Canadian government's come out with some programs, so we have been able to get virtually everybody back on staff and are having renewed focus back on growth now. We're not seeing it yet, but that's what we're focused on.
We're planning for success, and we're very optimistic we'll come out the other side of all of this stronger than ever.
That's the right way to look at it. So how have you guys adapted your business strategies, your processes, the things you used to do? How have you adapted this year?
First off, there was a mandated work from home in our province of Ontario. Mm-hmm. We were in an excellent position, thanks in a large part to Landstar and Landstar Online and the TMS, all being web-based. And our internal computer system also web-based. So we did have to make some quick adjustments to our phone system, but we had to go for, Shelley, was it April and most of May, to a work from home mandated by the province. So that was a pretty big change. We have since been able to get most of our operations team back in the office. I guess that was the biggest change, but I think we have all but 2 back in the office now.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm sure they're very happy to be back to work. In your opinion, what are the most important things for a business owner to pay attention to right now?
Well, first and foremost, the health and safety of our staff, our BCOs, our customers, our third-party capacity providers is our focus. We have implemented new sanitation procedures within our office, and that has enabled our staff to be able to report to work without fear. And we've had to adapt and adjust our complete and accurate dispatch for certain customers to include new health and safety procedures to protect our business partners.
So how are you guys preparing your business for the future? Because, we're all still trying to figure things out as we go, and there's a lot of uncertainties still. So how are you preparing for the future, technology, staffing, in any capacity? Well,
I guess we do have a focus on trying to attract some new business, trying to get our levels back up to where they were That's proving very challenging with the inability to have meetings and having to do everything over the phone. Never been a big fan of that. Like to make the initial phone call just to get an in-person meeting, but that's proving very difficult. Technology-wise, we're in a good place. We don't have a lot of changes in the pipeline from a technology standpoint. Staffing, one of our customers changed their business model and made a big acquisition that actually made us hire during the pandemic. That was an interesting thing to have to do with business levels down. Had to adapt to the customer's needs and did so. As far as future, I mean, we've had growth strategy and hired, not year over year, but we've constantly been hiring as business levels demanded it. And I mean, that's definitely our plan for the future.
The current environment's making sales very challenging. So many disruptions in the economy. For the most part, we're finding it hard to engage prospective new customers. It really makes every opportunity urgent so that you are the ones to capture the business that's being offered.
Yeah, and that makes me wonder because, I mean, I've done regional sales and I know your primary business is customers. I mean, dealing with customers, and I'm sure you've always done it a certain way, as you talked about, where you would go to their facility, you would see them face to face, and that's completely different now. So how has travel restrictions, social distancing, how's that impacted that face-to-face relationship with customers? Is your approach a little different?
Yeah, well, Canada has a travel ban in effect, so we're not limited to just Canada with our business, so completely unable to get out of the country right now. That, of course, is travel restrictions have greatly restricted us in that. And then a lot of our larger customers are still in a work-from-home situation, so in-person customer visits have pretty much ceased. We do have a couple local customers that I've called on a few times over the last few months, and I'm able to do so by maintaining social distancing, and I deliver coffee and just have outside in the shipping area kind of conversations, but not a lot of in-office sit-down meetings. So it's been different.
But who hasn't heard of a Zoom meeting at this point in time? It seems like we're meeting more and more on the Zoom forum or Google Meets. So sometimes it seems like we're having more meetings than we ever did before.
I might say that as actually maybe a positive. Like there's seemingly more meetings now with customers than there was before because it's easier. There's no travel. Everyone just has to chisel out 10 minutes in their day and send out an invite, and you're meeting in person almost as Zoom, electronically in person. So
it's harder for them to avoid those meetings now, right?
Yeah.
What do you mean you're not available?
No excuses.
And I guess I want to follow up on that. In terms of doing face-to-face meetings when you do them now, so you can do them outside because most people, you still can't go in the buildings because it's too hard to keep that social distancing. So you can go and meet in like a yard or the front office area outside in the parking lot. I mean, that's where things are a little different for you now.
And maybe a little more informal and actually a little bit more comfortable. But the one customer in particular I'm thinking about, there's the shipping manager and 4 of his staff, and there's a picnic table out back, and just sit down a tray of coffee, and then we all just get in a large circle and kind of discuss how things are going, and maybe a little more informal. Well, it's a lot more informal, but I actually find it a little bit more comfortable. So. But
the handshaking, no handshakes, makes it a little weird for most of us who prefer that form of a greeting. You can read a lot in a handshake, so that part of it has been a lot different.
Yeah, you can't read much from an elbow bump.
No.
How are you finding new customers? I mean, that's a completely different approach, I would imagine. You can't just go to the door as much as you used to.
Really struggling to engage new prospects on the phone. I think a lot of customers right now have a lot of distractions, and so getting that sales call is just not really high on their priority list. So We have been seeing some new opportunities. A couple have found their way to us through our website. We do run a Google campaign up here, so we are getting a few hits off our website. So that's been good. And then the new corporate initiative, where they're kind of analyzing some of the current customers. We've seen a couple requests or opportunities come that way. I would say that's the biggest change in our current business model, is that we're a little bit slower, so everybody's got more time on their hands. So those new opportunities they're getting a lot more attention than they ever did. That's something that we're definitely going to carry forward when business levels do return.
Have you changed the services you're offering? I mean, I know Landstar has a ton of options to help with customers. Are you doing anything different with customers than you used to do in terms of servicing them?
Other than we're a heavy specialized agency, and primarily most of the work we do is in the heavy specialized. So, our customers did come out, a few of them did come out with some new procedures. We've had to adapt to that, and we have some customers south of the border down in the United States that kind of lean on us to keep them up to date on provincial guidelines. Every province that has different levels of requirements as it relates to PPE at job sites and deliveries, and paperless receiving is a big thing that one of our larger customers adopted. So there's no paperwork being handed back and forth. So those are some of the things we've had to adapt to. That, and of course the online meeting.
Everybody's accustomed to the online meeting these days, boy, I tell you.
Yeah.
How has your long-term, I mean, you talked about trying to get new customers, and it's a struggle right now. So how has your long-term business plan changed?
We've set goals every year for growth, and we've come very close or exceeded them annually, and we're very grateful for that. We have had to step back and reevaluate for 2020. As most people have, pivoting seems to be a big word in business these days. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's a daily pivot, but we're confident the economic recovery plan will include some significant infrastructure spending, which is good for our niche in the business, and we hope to position ourselves to see increased load counts. Revenue increases at that time, and it'll get us all back on track as it relates to growing our business.
Good. I hope everything comes together the way that you're hoping it will. And it feels like it's been a very challenging year for a lot of people. And there are also people that are still in the midst of trying to figure out the best way to get through some of these changes. So what is your best business advice to entrepreneurs during these times?
Well, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. So
that's true.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, but really make a plan. Have the plan evaluated by your business peers. Make sure it's feasible, and set goals is definitely our number one. And go about every day trying to reach those goals. Every day you walk through the door trying to reach those goals. This year has proved that there will be challenges thrown at you, and I think really it's how you deal with those challenges and make sure you learn from them rather than just kind of resent them. And
how do you adapt?
Yeah.
That's going to position you for success.
Yeah, adapt. That's a great buzzword. We need to get that out there, because that has been the successful ones this year have been the ones that have been most willing to adapt across the board.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, Trevor and Shelley. Really do appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. And next episode, we're going to hear how owner-operator Eugene Anatori adapted his business on wheels and contributed to society as an essential worker with one move.
Well, the beginning of all the confusion, we changed our direction. And instead of hauling common freight or hazardous materials, we actually went and hauled for Kroger Foods. At the time, people needed personal supplies, so we were working for the warehouses of Kroger and delivering food products and personal hygiene supplies to the small towns and cities in the Midwest, that the supplies that people needed at the time. Not only was it a good change in the business, with a steady paycheck, but also it was in support of the people who really needed the help.
Don't forget to come back for that. Remember, there are 4 parts to the series. We've got 2 down, we've got 2 to go. Thanks for listening to The Road to Success, and be sure to keep reading our Road to Success magazine. More episodes will be coming your way, so be sure to hit subscribe so you're the first to get the very next episode, as well as if you're on social media, and who's not, be sure to like all of our social media pages and share these episodes with your friends. Let them know that you're enjoying the Road to Success podcast so more people listen. And always tell us where in the country you're listening from, because we always love to hear that. That's it, guys. I am out of here. Remember to come back for our next interview with Eugene. And no matter what end of the trucking business you fall into, always remember that safety comes first.